Good karma, bad mom. Good karma, bad mom. Good karma, bad mom. Your new fave crew. Tell a friend tune in here so they can listen to.
Hello, my name is Karma, and this is my mom, Taisha.
Hello.
And this is our podcast, Good Karma, Bad Mom.
Man. So, funny thing that you just mentioned our title, because I've had some people ask, oh, how come it says bad mom? Do you think that you're a bad mom? And I was like, of course not. I think I'm an amazing mom. And
I think it's because I told you when you made it, it's because you're a baddie.
ooh, I like that. Baddie vibes. But I also think it's like tongue-in-cheek. When we were picking out the names, I also thought like, you know, one of my favorite sayings is also fuck them kids. And I feel like only good parents can actually say that. Because it's not like a true like fuck them kids. It's like I love these kids and they be asking me for everything right at a certain moment where I might possibly be doing something, but I'm going to do it. But in that time, it's like, oh, fuck these kids. Not like I'm just out here fuck these kids and not caring about them. So it's just tongue in cheek because
It made me think of something Tammy said.
I hope you think that I'm an amazing mom because I'm going to give myself a A+++.
Well, I gave you a pin.
Oh, you did give me a pin. And I'm a baddie. Hey. So,
What's today's topic?
yes, today's topic is MS. So, some of you might not know that a few years ago, I was diagnosed with MS, multiple sclerosis. And we're just going to talk about it. And I'm going to ask you some questions and you can ask me some questions. And just really want to dive into it because, again, this was just a couple years ago. So this is something that is still extremely new to us and something that is extremely serious in what we're going through. And going to talk about when I was first diagnosed and how that went. So when I was first diagnosed, we didn't know what was going on. I had no clue. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I was having multiple symptoms. Everything hit me all at once. I think probably my first symptom that came that I really didn't think of it as a symptom was I lost my taste.
Yeah.
And that was also around the time of COVID and everything. So I took multiple COVID tests, didn't have COVID. So we just didn't know what was going on. But I didn't have taste for like a month. And
Yeah, and you tried making Riera tacos, and they were so spicy because the amount of spice you had to put into it to taste it.
I know, I felt so bad. I didn't even realize it was spicy. I remember it was me, you, and Grandma were sitting at the table,
Poor
we're
Grandma.
eating, and all I could hear out of you two was like, I'm like, is it hot? And here you guys are both like, yeah, nose, eyes running, everything's leaking, but you're still trying to eat it. And I'm just like,
Because it tasted good, but it was just...
I couldn't even
Just
tell.
imagine, it's what I imagine you added like a ghost pepper in there and you're like, that should add some flavor.
Yeah, because I couldn't taste anything. So I'm like, this is so flavorless. So I kept on adding peppers and everything.
And then once you could taste it, it was...
I thought it was perfect.
For somebody that couldn't taste at the moment to be able to taste the spice, just I think that lets you know how spicy it was.
Yeah, and I had no clue because when you got, I think that's also when I realized like, something's off. I can't taste anything. Like I didn't even realize, especially the pain that you guys were going through. It was like, I felt horrible.
And it's Riera tacos. Who's not going to eat them?
So I think that was like one of the first signs.
Well, one of the first, the two first signs I remember is one, my childhood friend's dad telling me about how he thought you were just white girl wasted.
That's hilarious because me and Jad were just talking about this. I was just reminiscing about how your friend's father and his wife, they were like, oh, come meet us out. And
Was
I
it
was
at the casino?
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I can't remember if he had called me and gave me the invitation
I think he texted you.
Or if we seen each other somewhere, and like that's how it happened. But I remember texting him and saying like I couldn't go. And no, that text did not come out right at all because my vision was really messed up as well too. It was like I always equate it as like drunk goggles almost. Like it was just really blurry, really messed up, and it looked like just like if you're off, like rocking on a boat almost.
Yeah. I remember being like, I thought she was already there and a couple drinks in.
Yeah, I was just saying that to Essence, and I was like, I know he must have thought that. And we talked about it after I was diagnosed and I found out actually what was going on. I was like, yeah, remember that message? And he was like, yeah, you must have been. I was like, no, I couldn't see. I just was diagnosed with MS. And he was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. And then, you know, it feels a little sad to be laughing about it now, but our viewers have to understand that in the moment, we didn't know that it was, well, I didn't really realize.
I didn't know.
How serious that it was. And I'm just like, she must have hit a vein or something. Because I remember you're in bed. And you're just like a stick laid out. And you're just like, I can't move my legs. And so
yeah, throw them on the bed, right?
I could it's just so funny to think about you laying there and I'm just like, I'm struggling too.
Yeah, to get him up on the bed. I remember that as well too, because I'm like, my legs, they feel so heavy. I don't know, I can't move them. Help me put my legs in the bed.
And we were just giggling.
Chuckling. Yeah, having no idea. So prior to this, when I say I hardly ever have gotten sick, I hardly have ever gotten sick.
I don't think I've ever seen you sick.
Yeah, I've never had the flu. Like, so many things I've never had. So for one, I feel bad. I had a lack of sympathy in some ways when people got sick because I just didn't get it. I've never been sick like that, so I just didn't understand. So apologies as well too. We'll talk about that as well too because I felt bad after I've been sick and then I realized.
Yeah, I've had that a couple times with my boyfriend because I feel like I've inherited a pretty good immune system from you because I don't really get sick. I mean, sometimes I get headaches a lot. Or it's easy for me to feel nauseous, but I don't get sick. And so my boyfriend, it feels like he's constantly sick. I know he's not, but that's what it feels like. And I'm just like, men are such babies. Well, not just men, but, you know, just like...
Yeah, just jokingly, I get it.
Yeah, you know, just like, all you have is like a little, oh, my throat hurts. Get up.
Yeah.
You know, so... And then I ended up getting the norovirus. And he was an angel taking care of me. And I'm just throwing up everywhere. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah.
So I get that, you know.
Yeah, so still didn't know what was going on. I thought that possibly, what was I thinking? I was thinking a couple things.
Iron deficiency.
Yes.
And I feel like...
And you were trying to, like, we were also trying to, check things off that it wasn't because my vision was messed up and
diabetes
and I felt off balance. Yeah, I remember when you finally got my legs into the bed, we were like just joking around trying to figure out, and you were also taking, what were you taking in school?
Serialized processing. So he was showing us, like, we were just learning about a bunch of stuff, but I remember when we thought it was iron deficiency and we're both struggle with iron.
Yeah, I've had that issue before.
Now I feel a little bad since it's a multiple sclerosis. But I remember there's a couple times where I just didn't want to go to practice. I was like, I think it's my iron acting up. And you'd be like, I know how this feels now, so you can stay. And now when I think back, I was just like, kids are assholes. Why did I do that?
Yeah, because it took about a few weeks for me to actually go and find out what was going on, because I just thought maybe it was stress. We'll get into another episode on why I thought that it was stress, and then you'll handle that episode more in depth. But we went through an extremely trying time, so I just thought stress was catching up to me.
It would make sense.
Yeah, so I was just like, oh, I'm just really stressed out, so just give it some time. And I also had like this pain in my neck. Again, I just thought I was just holding a whole bunch of stress. After like a week of just like feeling like shit and really just in pain, and my feet were numb and my hands were numb. I remember saying, you were like, don't do it, Mom. I was like, my fingertips are so numb. I feel like I could just shove a needle through there.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna do it, but like that's how numb they feel. And I remember you like, don't do it. Like,
well, because also grandma, I feel like around the time she had like a skin tag on her eye, and she was like, I'm just gonna cut it right off. And I had to talk her down like this cliff, and I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah, I would never do so.
So
like
I was
that.
just like, you might have got that crazy gene. Don't do it.
Don't be talking about my mama. So a little bit of time went by. I called my doctor and I was just like, yeah, I think my iron's low. So she's like, oh, come on in, do some blood tests and everything. So I just told her, like, I don't know, I just feel a little off. Something's going on. I'm not quite sure. So we ran some iron tests and then she's like, oh, it's not that. And then we ran a whole bunch of tests. Because she was like, also, if your sodium is off, I guess like it could be too low. Yeah, like
I always thought it could be just too high.
No, it could be too low, and it could actually cause like a lot of problems as well too. I'm not gonna go into that because I don't know anything about it. I just know that's something that she wanted to check to see, and we actually had to do that test twice. So I was thinking, oh, maybe that's it, because the first one, it came back with errors. So she was like, oh, let's just run that test again. So I was like, okay, we did that again, nothing. All the tests came back good. The one test that came back low was my vitamin D. I had a vitamin D deficiency. So then some things I feel like were getting worse. My balance, driving and everything. So I was only driving to work and back home. I wasn't even trying to go anywhere, do anything.
And it wasn't even like, I feel like since I don't even think I was 17 yet.
No, you weren't.
It was just like, and it wasn't like I've already had my permit, so I could at least drive somewhere. No. So I didn't have my Jeep, obviously.
Yeah, you didn't have anything. So there was like, no driving. It was just working back. And I was like holding on to anything I can see to walk to the next spot. So then that's really, when it was starting to get bad like that, when my balance and everything was really affecting everything, my walk, my need to hold on to stuff. And I was really worried that people at my job, they're going to be like, this girl is drunk. And
since you just got, I remember you being like, and I have all these bruises on my arm from the test.
From them doing so many different tests to try to figure out, if I had any
long sleeves for life.
Yeah, anything going on. And the lady, she blew my vein out, so it just looked crazy. And it was both arms, so I'm just like, don't look. And I'm like weebling, wobbling all at work and everything. It was horrible. So finally, my doctor's like, it's none of that. I'm like, something's going on, like. And she's like, okay, come on in. And we ran some tests. And I was like, and I can't stand straight. I feel like I'm wobbling. Thank goodness I've never fell or anything. And so she ran some tests. We did like some balance tests. And I remember she just like did this. I damn near fell over. And she was just like, you know what? She asked me like if I've been in an accident, and I was like, I'm still just thinking of stress. And I was like, I just think it's stress. Like, I just think it caught up to me. She knew what was going on, and she was just like,
because we had the same doctor, right?
And she was like, stress definitely takes a toll on the body, but I don't know. Let's just go find out what's going on. I want you to get, she ordered me to go get an MRI. And at the same time, she was like, I also want you to see a neurologist. That way, when your results come in, if you need to, all your appointments are already set up. So I was like, all right, cool. And then we did a little phone tag for a little bit. I don't know what was going on with my phone, but her phone calls, they were kept on going to voicemail for some reason. And then I was trying to call her. It was just a nightmare. Anyways, I'm able to get a hold of her, and she's like, yeah, so you have white matter on your brain. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, that just sounds horrible.
Yeah, it was scary because I had no idea what it meant. And first of all, viewers, until you know what's going on with yourself, I'm going to advise you not to Google anything. Like, I did that my first probably day or two, and I tell you what, I died like 10 times. Okay, so like, don't do it. Like, I had everything under the sun.
Not to get slightly, but perfect example is with what I was just talking with my friend. This is like my first period on birth control, so it's just colors I'm not used to, and I was telling my friend, I was like, I'm not used to it being that bright, and she looks it up and she's like, you have a bacterial infection.
Like, don't diagnose me, and don't Google it.
And she shoved it in my face. She was like, this is what you have, and it said it's very unlikely, and it's and like exactly what I said. I was like, it's because of this birth control, and she's like, right there.
Yeah, I mean, granted, some
Bless
things,
her heart,
but yeah, no, I had a brain tumor, and literally one thing was like, you're dead. I was just like, oh my gosh. So
she said you had a brain tumor?
No, from Googling.
Oh,
no.
scared me.
From like Googling, just trying to figure out, and like there's all these big words, so then I'm Googling these words, and then after I was like, just for the sake of sanity, I'm not Googling anything. And what was scary as well too is because my doctor, she couldn't go in depth more because all the results came back to her was just there was white matter on my brain.
Yeah.
So luckily, like I said at the beginning, she also had me make an appointment with the neurologist as well too. So all those scans went over to the neurologist, and I remember, I don't like to alarm anybody of what's going on until I fully know what's going on. So my family did know like what bits and pieces a little bit what was going on, but I never gave too much detail because I can't answer their questions if I don't even have answers myself. Right. So, and there's no sense of anybody being more scared because I was already terrified. So we all don't need to be about to jump off this bridge. Like, what is going on? Let's end it now.
Especially grandma, she loves YouTube, so she would have been like, I saw on the tube.
Yeah, well, that was the rule as well, too. I was just like, we're not Googling anything.
Right.
Like, no more of that. That's just no good. That's going to build up your stress even more. So stay away from that. So went to the doctors, the neurologist, and he ran some tests. They just do like some body things and everything, poke you, push you, speed test, just all these things, and they like run this thing down you, just do like a whole bunch of like touch test, pain test, all these things. And you know, he looks at my scans and everything that I have, and he's like, from looking at it, the way that everything's going, can't be too certain. I never forget it. My sister, she's in the car because I tried my hardest. I did not want her to go. She would not take no for an answer. She was like, I'm going. And she didn't go in with me. She stayed in the car. She asked if she could go in, and I was like, I just want to go in by myself so I could just get this news first, you know. I didn't think that it was going to be bad, but you just never know.
Yeah.
So I received the information, and he was just like, it appears that you may have multiple sclerosis, but we're going to do more tests so we know for sure. I was like, okay. Terrified. I had no idea prior to. And so I'm just going to pause for a second because in that moment, I had no idea what MS is. So that goes to one of my questions is, prior to you knowing, before I was diagnosed, have you ever heard of MS?
No. I like never have heard of it before. You could stop me on the street, ask me what it is, I wouldn't know.
Yeah, like I've heard of it, but I didn't know. I've never even heard of it,
which is crazy because I was doing stuff in the medical field in high school,
right? For
the whole, what was it called? Something, and for Votech. So the fact that I never heard of it, I was just like, oh wow. But
right. So then, we go. I go out to the car. And I'm trying to be as strong as I can. And she just looks over at me. She grabs my hand. And I'm just like, I think I might have MS. And, you know, he told me he gave me some information. I feel like at that time he didn't want to give me too much information. But he was just like, you know, I'm just going to read some of what's here, because still even now to this day, like I can explain what I go through, but as far as the, I guess like a true definition, it's still hard for me to try to define it, just because it's just so hard, because it just takes up so much. I just know it affects your brain and it affects your spinal cord and it affects so many things that I do on a daily basis. But it's an autoimmune disease that affects your central nervous system, and your central nervous system, again, it controls everything. Yeah. So it's literally attacks my good cells at any given time that it wants to. Mm-hmm. So he said some of what it was, but didn't really go too far in depth, because again, I think that he just didn't, seeing how we didn't have a firm diagnosis. Yeah, I didn't want to say what it was. So then after that, more testing, right? So I had to go for MRIs.
Is that the one where you lay down and then it? Because just watching House or Grey's Anatomy, well, especially in House, because they do it like every episode, and something crazy always happens.
So yeah, somebody's getting an MRI done, right? Yeah. And I had to do an MRI.
And it's just so scary. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Just thinking that you had to go through that, because and almost I feel like every episode somebody goes in there and they have a panic attack or they almost die in there. Like, you're never getting one of those again.
Yeah, so it is just like that.
You had a panic attack?
No, I haven't had it. They give you a little button. Mm-hmm. That you get to hold on to. So if you do start to feel away, you push the button, and you have like these headphones. I've been in different ones. Some are really nice. They give you like headphones, almost like there's this thing by your head to where, oh no, I'm sorry, there's speakers around. Mm-hmm. So you can hear them and they can hear you. So they come in like, hey, how are you doing? Because some of them last a long time, because they're trying to get these scans, and it sounds horrible. It's loud as hell, and you're in this tight machine, and then they push you through. But luckily, like, I'm able to see out the bottom, so that helps me, because I could see past my feet. I'm like, okay, you're fine. Try to close your eyes. Some play music. They ask what type of music you want to play. So I had to have that done, and then they also do this dye that they so they can see everything. And so I had to get my brain scan, I had to get my neck scan, and I had to get my spine scan.
And the bad cells light up or something? Something lights up?
I think with the dye it lights up, so they can also see what's going on. I think like the dye helps so they can identify everything. And so when they scan your brain, which is not fun, this is the only time I feel like, okay, I'm about to freak out. They put like this thing over your face. So not only are you in this thing, but they put this thing. I'm sure you've never seen it, like Silence of the Lambs.
I'm just thinking of like X-Men. I know that's horrible, but
no, but I mean, I guess, yeah, 'cause I said Silence of the Lambs. So
I don't watch horror movies, so that's
it's just like this. It's literally like something like this, and it's over your face like this. Like my nose, it feels so close to it, and it's just there. So now I can't give myself that comfort of looking down and like seeing everything. So you feel super closed in now.
Claustrophobic.
Yeah. So if you are claustrophobic, it's gonna hit you. Mm-hmm. And they ask you certain questions like, oh, if you need like certain medicine to help calm you down in these situations, if you're claustrophobic, if you're gonna be in here. So they definitely do the best that they can to help, because you have to be still. You can't move. You move, you gotta redo it all over again.
How many times did you have to redo it?
I've never had to redo it. One time, which this is funny as well too. It was the craziest thing, because like this gnat, it like came.
You should have some vinegar in your pocket.
Came from nowhere, and I'm like. And I don't think like this was like my first one with MS. I have to have brain scans pretty regularly. So like I'm gonna say I'm pretty much I was a vet at this time, because I've already been doing it. So I know I have to be still. I'm trying so hard, and I'm just like, and it like you know how something goes in your nose and then comes back out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it was right at the end, which was perfect because you can't help it. I moved.
Yeah, I touched my nose and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. And the lady on the thing, she's like, don't worry, we're good. You're done. I was like, thank goodness. So we do all that testing and everything. And then the call comes for me to go back maybe like a week later. And during this time as well, too. So they're like, yeah, you have MS. And we know for sure. So I have lesions on my brain, which is like, actually it's not scarring yet. They're lesions. So a scar is more when something heals. So it's like an open wound, I guess, almost. All these lesions on my brain, on my spine, different parts of my spine, from the upper and the lower spine. And that's how come I was going through everything. And at the beginning, I was on steroids.
Yeah.
So I had to go for infusions at the hospital, and that was the only way. What's wrong? I'm okay.
I know, but it's with chronic illness, you can't see them, and you're so strong to where it's like, obviously I know I've seen you have what was it when you were on the couch creating lesions.
Yeah.
So I've seen it, you know, but it's just different when you think about it. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can't feel it. And you know, I'll never know what it's like, and I'm not saying that I do, but it's sometimes it's hard for me to fully understand it.
Sometimes it's hard for me to fully understand, and it's hard for me to fully be able to articulate it to somebody. So, you know, I get it and I appreciate it, because I think that's also one of the hardest things about having MS is because I look fine. And that hits on something that you said, and I was saving it specifically for the podcast, and I wanted to talk about it, was the fact that you had said, like, sometimes you don't say certain things that you're going through because I have MS. And I kind of felt like shit in that moment.
Well, you shouldn't, but
because I want you to, you know.
I mean, it just sucks because I'm the type of person to where it's like I can feel okay, or just something will be wrong, but if I need to complain about it, you know, it's like, oh, I really feel like, and there's just been a couple times where it's like I just look at you, and then I'm just like, it's like when you hear a Survivor story, it's like, oh, but I can't even get out of bed on time. But this one girl, literally head was about to fall off, she, like attempted murder, and she was able to like survive.
Right.
And it's like, oh.
And here I am whining about a hangnail. Yeah, no, I get it. But I still, what you're feeling is still valid at all those times. And when you said that, it kind of like, it broke my heart, because I want you to be able to, I don't want you to feel like you can't express those things just because I'm going through my stuff. I got what you were saying, just how you were just expressing it in that moment. And I get it, but I still... You're entitled to how you feel when you're not feeling the greatest. I know sometimes, and it's probably partly me too, because sometimes I'm like, damn it, I'm doing all this and I have MS, and you mean to tell me? Because I'm like, I have
especially
something
when
that's
I did
going
taekwondo.
on. Yeah, because I'm like, I have something going on, and I don't do it to try to make you feel bad. I really try to do it to, like, give you inspiration in some ways. Like, you know, we're so much stronger than this. And I tried to be as strong as I possibly can for you to just, not to downplay anything that you have. It's just like, and I know that you depend on me, you know, my mom, not anything, you know, more than just being a strong woman, you know. It's just like, so it's just like, I want to be your idol. That's always been my thing. I don't ever want you to idolize anything but me. Like, I never wanted you to like, oh, this is my hero. I always wanted to be your hero. So I always wanted to be strong. Like, when you look at me, it's like, oh, who's your hero? You know, kids say, you know, Superman, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I always just wanted you to be like my mom. So I always try to be as strong as I possibly can. And sometimes it's like not even allowing myself sometimes to even express certain things until it's in that moment of like frustration. You're like, oh, I don't want to do such and such. So it comes out wrong.
But I do have a question. Since you do look fine, and again, you can't see what's happening, what do you feel? Because you can tell me, but what are your symptoms? Because I don't know.
Right. That's a good question. So, I mean, they change from day to day. So, excuse me, sometimes well, we talked about some of the brain blocking. That unfortunately happens more often than I would want it to, and especially sometimes at work. So I try to write like certain notes, especially if I'm going into a meeting, so I could look down and see. That way that doesn't happen. And some people that I'm close to, I let them know, like, okay, if there's a pause, but I'm an extremely personal person, so I don't like to disclose certain things, but other things are, I get extremely fatigued sometimes, and it's not a regular tired type of thing. It's like sometimes I'm just like so fatigued. I could sleep for 10 hours and get up and still be just like it's just this weird, it's more than just being tired. It's just like this, I feel like fatigue doesn't even give it any justice. But, and then there's, sometimes I also suffer from numbness. Oh my goodness, that's like the biggest, because it's like this numbness that comes with this pain as well too. And that happens in my fingers and it happens in my feet and it happens in my legs, and it's crazy because sometimes it affects one side of my body. Sometimes it's like my left side, and my feet will get so numb, and it's like muscle memory. Like, good thing I say it sometimes. I just said it to Essence the other day, and I try to downplay it. I like say it like kind of jokingly, like, hey, good thing I remember how to walk, because I can't feel my legs. Like, I can't feel my feet. I don't feel them touching the ground. I don't feel them coming up. I don't feel them going down. I just know that I'm doing it because I'm getting to my next spot that I need to be.
Crazy.
Yeah. So sometimes it's like muscle memory. I'm getting there and I don't feel anything. And so that's something. And as I'm sitting here and I'm touching you right now, that's also another symptom, is like touch. You know, at the beginning, that's something.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it's like, and even now, sometimes it still affects me, and I try my hardest to just push that pain down, just because.
But why?
Because you guys want to touch me, and I want to be touched, and I feel so bad, like, hearing some of the, like, oh, when I couldn't touch you, like, that was really hard.
Would it make it easier if we just weren't like, oh, when I couldn't hug you?
Because I, like, of course you guys feel a certain way, because I would feel a certain way. I love hugging, and I know we made jokes last time about me not being a touchy person, and that is so true in certain regards, but I love my hugs. I love, like, you know, those, I think it's like, as weird as it is, it's just like those simple touches sometimes that I'm just not a fan of.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird, and I don't like it when other people touch me, but I digress.
You got so, like, you immediately were like, oh my God.
But it's just like, if you're going, because I know you're expressing love to me, so it's just like, I don't want to say sometimes I have no other choice but to. But
Right.
sometimes it's a quick moment, it's a quick passing, so I'm going to take it. It's just like, but it feels like pins and needles mixed with shockers. Like that's how much it's just like, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere. Sometimes I feel like I'm being electrocuted. It could be like in my back, in my neck. Sometimes I'm doing this. Sometimes, Essence will ask like, "Oh, do you want me to give you a back rub or a shoulder rub?" And I'm just like, "No." And sometimes I want all those things, but in those moments, it's just, I just can't take it. And then set aside from being sensitive to touch, I get these pains. It feels like somebody's squeezing me so tight. And I found out that they're called MS hugs. I used to write my doctor and be like, it feels like a baby elephant is sitting on my chest. Like I don't know what's going on. I feel like I'm being squeezed so tight. And she prescribes me medicine for that, but I don't take them. Just some things I'm a push through it. Like I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to be in pain, but I'm going to push through it because I already taking something that I have to take, as we talked about before, that I don't want to take any more medicine. And Essence gets on me about that. He's like, just take something. And don't get me wrong, because there's I have no other choice. I have to take something.
Right. Well, it just also makes me think of Auntie. She's such a pill pusher. That's just, it makes me think of like, take the pill.
Yeah.
Take the pill.
Yeah, because even Auntie, if I'm like, and she's like, why are you doing that to yourself? And it's just a matter of like, these pills already have side effects. Like, why do I want to take something and, deal with certain side effects? But sometimes I have no other choice but to take it because the pain is just so unbearable. Or my MS hug was like perfect example. We went to, I think it was the Aladdin at Broadway. When we went to Proctor's, it was us three. I was going through it.
Really?
Yeah. I felt horrible. It was like everything. So on top of my MS hug that I was going through, I was having I'll call it like a reaction to touch. Like I was pins and needles. And I felt horrible because in the moment, right, we're supposed to be having like this great moment. It was me, it was Essence, and then you were sitting on the other side. And I just looked miserable. I know I looked miserable. Like that's probably what was coming off. And I remember Essence was like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And I just gave him this look and I felt so horrible. And that look was just like, "Don't touch me." And he was just like, "What's wrong?" I was just like, and shame on me because in that moment I should have just been like, "Oh, I'm in pain." And I'm just like, "Oh, like really nothing." And when he would try to touch me, of course, I have like this face on. I'm sure I must have had a face on. And then I'm sure that I felt him stiffen up, automatically feeling away. So then that's just like, I need to really get better with expressing in those moments because it's like, I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm feeling away or anything when it's literally just this. So after the fact, I told him, I was like, I was going through it. I felt like I know what it's called now. It's called an MS hug. Like I was just like, it just felt like someone was on my chest. I'm having like that pins and needles feeling. So when you were touching me, it was just like, it was painful. It wasn't like, I'm like, ew, a boy, don't touch me, my man. No, it's like, man, this hurts. And but I want to be here. And sometimes even my clothes, like certain.
Is that why you Winnie the Pooh all the time?
If I'm a Winnie the Pooh mom, no. But even just sometimes my clothes, the way that my clothes hit. And even when you were asking about certain things that have changed. So prior to me being diagnosed, I got my motorcycle license and I learned how to ride a motorcycle. I did all that. So that changed because there's just certain concerns that we have to worry about now being on a bike. I can't be on my bike too long because I might overheat. And it's one of those things, if I overheat, I need to come out my clothes and cool myself down immediately. I think that's happened like 2 times when we went riding. Now I try to like keep something on me if it's a nice day to keep me cool. But I remember one time we rode from somewhere and we came back to the house. I immediately had to run upstairs and I just jumped in the shower. And then my shirt was soaking wet. I got my shirt soaking wet. So when we rode back, I believe we were riding back to his house or just for a ride, at least I had something cool on my body. Now they make certain apparatuses, like a cool neck thing or, you know, I think like cool shirts and everything, but I was just getting my stuff wet. So it was just like, you know, feeling certain pains and just not really expressing them in certain moments. So that's something that I feel, or I think like after the moment I express them, and I need to get better with just like saying what's going on. And I think it just switches all the time as far as like, oh, well, what's going on? Something else that I experience that I feel bad about is sometimes making plans. Like sometimes I feel really good in the morning or during the day and I'm like, oh, like let's do XYZ. I'll probably do it with you. I do it with Essence. And then sometimes like 15 minutes later or even like later on, I'm like, we could just play it by ear. When I say like we could just play it by ear, stuff has changed that fast with me and I don't like that. And it's just trying to learn and accept like this new body, this new brain, everything that's going on and trying to do everything with still trying to keep everybody happy without feeling like, oh, well, she said that she was going to do this because I really try to keep my word the best that I can.
You're so big on keeping your word.
Yes, because I just feel like that's all we really have. So I really try my hardest and I don't always want it to be like, I feel like sometimes it's like a scapegoat that they call it. So I try not to make plans sometimes. I'm also just like let's just see how it goes now.
Well, you're also the type of person to where you're, even before MS, I love you, you're late to everything. So I'm the type of person, and it always bites me in the butt because I got this episode, I'm realizing how similar we are with certain things. But I'm also always late. And I'm quick to be like, I feel bad. I want people to know what time I'm going to be there because I feel like you want to know what time. I want to know what time.
Right.
So I'd let them know what time. And then I'm like, can we make it 1:30? I know I said 1 o'clock. So, but you are you're how I should be. You're like, don't tell them a time. I'm not telling nobody a time. I'll be there when I'm there. I know this is the time that the party starts, but I'm going to be there 30 minutes later.
Yeah, I'm not proud of that. I try to work on that, but now, with just everything going on, I just try not to because I feel like it would just be such a disappointment. And then another symptom, I feel like you set me up with a loaded question because there's just
So many.
yeah, and I've been also experienced new things as well too. I don't know if I detailed this to you. So there's been a couple times that I've experienced this pain. I won't even call it a headache. So this is how it happened. Me and Essence, we were just like joking around, playing in the bedroom. I think like we were like horse playing around, and I might have like we were horse playing like so. I might have hit him. Like I think we were just like tussling. Like I said, we were just playing, having fun, and out of nowhere, it felt like somebody stabbed me in my head, and it just dropped me. I think like I was like over the top of him. I could have been standing up on the bed. I can't remember exactly, but I just remember that pain dropped me to my knees. I remember being up in a way to where it just made me collapse. And he was just like, oh, at first he thought I was joking because it was like the perfect play moment, right? To just like, haha, don't touch me anymore. And I'm like, no, something's going on. I don't know what it is. I really couldn't even say much. He was just asking me, and I'm like, no, like, I'm not playing. And that lasted probably like, it was probably only a few minutes, but it felt like a long time. And he was up and he was like, don't go to sleep, because we don't know what's going on right now. And it was late at night, so he was worried about me sleeping and everything. And it was just, it has happened a couple of times to where I just get this sharp pain. So that has been a worry of like, obviously driving, saying motorcycles, just all these types of things, and that was like after I was able to come to and then feel better through it all. He was just like, could you drive through that? Would you be able to safely pull over? Asking obviously appropriate concerned questions, just making sure that if this was to happen when I'm behind the wheel, can I get myself to safety? And like, I believe that I would be able to. I truly believe that I would be able to just get myself to safety. And it is something that we've noticed. I talked to my doctor about it, and, I think that it's, under control. It's manageable, and, everything's going to be. I need a second. I'm sorry.